Hello, ghosties. I'm Chance Lee,
And I'm Amanda McAvoy.
and this is That's So Gothic, a movie podcast about girls, guys, and haunted houses. And Amanda, there are more ghosts in today's movie than I think all other movies we've covered combined.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today we are talking about 13 Ghosts.
There are ghosts around us all the time. Most of them, they can't hurt us. Most of them don't even want to hurt us. But there are exceptions.
Is it bad tonight?
Oh, bad? It is my professional opinion. We should get the hell out of here. Now.
I represent the estate of your Uncle Cyrus.
We have an Uncle Cyrus?
Cyrus recorded this message 6 weeks ago. He asked it to be played for you in the event of his death.
Arthur, I've instructed my lawyer to deliver my last will and testament.
A key?
A key to what?
A key to your new house. This house is the fruit of my life's work.
Oh my God.
It is a one-of-a-kind home.
It's marvelous, isn't it?
Wow.
Arthur, we've got some papers to sign in the library. After that, I would love to take you and the family around a tour of the house.
This place is awesome!
All right, now I know I'm dreaming.
Well, your uncle was quite a collector of many things.
What the hell was that?
You're wasting your time. It's all sealed up.
This house is not a house. We're in the middle of the machine, powered by the dead.
Maggie! What?
We got company.
Where? I can't see. How close is it?
Close enough to hurt you?
Go, go, go! Can I rely on you not to get me killed?
I guarantee nothing.
Released in 2001, 13 Ghosts was directed by Steve Beck from a screenplay by Neal Marshall Stevens. It stars Tony Shaloub as Arthur, a dad, Shannon Elizabeth as Kathy, his weirdly sexy daughter, Rah Digga as Maggie, their live-in housekeeper,
Yeah.
Matthew Lillard as Rafkin, a ghost hunter, and Academy Award-winning actor F. Murray Abraham as Cyrus, an occultist who's trapping souls with the goal of procuring limitless power.
Yeah.
And like maybe time travel. I don't know what's going on. There's a
I
lot
don't
of
understand.
clocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is basically the story of a family who moves into a haunted house.
Yeah. That's what it boils down to.
That's really what it boils down to. It's also based on a 1960 film that you can watch on Tubi of
Really?
the same name.
Wow.
And I watched this on DVD from my local library.
Hmm.
I had never seen it before.
I have. I love this movie. I have a very sentimental connect. I've actually rewatched this. This is like a comfort movie for me.
Okay, I can see
The
that.
Yeah, I think the first time, well, actually, I know the first time I watched it, I was at my best friend Jessica's aunt's lake house, and we watched it on, I can't remember if it was her like 40-pound laptop, like because laptops were so heavy, or if it was like a portable DVD player. I don't remember how, but I just remember the first time I watched it, I was way too young to be watching it, but because it was like terrible quality and like a super small screen, I didn't really know what was happening. Which is you know, not super different from how I feel when I watch it now, but like I just love it. It's so much fun. It's just so comforting to me. I love this movie. Yeah, I've probably seen it, I don't know, like a dozen times now. I just throw it on. It's lovely. It's
You
like,
got to get one more in, make it 13.
oh my God, you're right. I didn't even think of that. I should have been keeping track exactly of how often I've watched it. This was one
Mhm.
of, I sort of recently, I've never been huge into buying DVDs, and I've sort of recently gotten more into buying physical media. And by recently, I mean like in the past year. And this was like one of the first movies I bought on DVD,
Ooh.
like of this past year, because specifically for the special features, because I heard they were so good. And I think the best special feature is the one where they speak about each ghost and its backstory, because I think the ghost design, which is so funny because like they didn't have to go this hard on the design for the ghosts, because this movie is just so bonkers, balls to the wall, crazy. You barely see them. But the design and then this special feature goes into their backstory. The amount of detail they give them is just like wild. And, you know, I've heard people say that they wish that the whole movie had just sort of been about the 13 Ghosts. I don't. I like that it's a special feature because I think it's just so ridiculous to even imagine this movie putting in so much effort for these ghosts that they just kind of didn't do a whole lot with.
It has the vibe of like a Saw movie where you see the
Yeah.
ghost for like 2 seconds, but there's like 17 different cuts,
Oh.
and sometimes the ghost is there and sometimes they're not there because
Mm-hmm.
technically in the world you can't see the ghosts unless you
Yep.
have special glasses on.
Yes. It's wild. I mean, there are ghosts in this movie that upon rewatching it this time, I in again, like I've seen this movie a lot. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that person before in my life. I've never ever focused my eyeballs on this character once in my life because some of them just come and go so fast. Um it's it's so wild to me, like the concept of this movie, because I don't understand why we saw so much of Tony Shaloub when there's like like I mean even show me Shannon Elizabeth more. Like we don't need Tony Shaloub, you know, but I love it. I still love it. I have so much. Ugh, I can't even stop gushing. And it does have, did you mention that it has what's his face from Scooby-Doo in it? Yes, because he's the ghost
Matthew
hunter.
Lillard, yes. Oh,
Yes.
yes.
I'm pretty
He's
sure
great in
he's
this.
yes, I'm pretty sure he's the reason why we watched it so young, because my teenage best friend Jessica was obsessed with him.
Was it because of Scream or because of Scooby-Doo?
Probably Scooby-Doo. I don't know if she had seen Scream yet. Honestly, it probably was more like he was in like J14 or something, and she just loved a really weird looking. If she saw a weird looking dude, she was like, "Yeah, that's the one."
Is that a magazine?
Yeah. Oh yeah, J14. That was like a popular. I think it's like Junior 14. It's like it was the teenage girl
Oh.
one with all of the pull-out posters.
Like Leonardo DiCaprio in
Yeah.
1997?
Yeah. But like for
Okay.
example, like she would have like Kevin Jonas on her wall. So
Oh.
yeah. So I think if it
I
was
don't
just
even
like
know
a
what that one looks like.
yeah, he's the weird one. So that's
Yeah.
if it was a weird dude, she was watching it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
feel like it was
Matthew Lillard was like peak weird dude at this time.
yeah, he was a big deal in the girl who loves weird dudes community.
He's also
I
in Serial Mom.
is he?
Yes.
So how
We were
old
talking
was
about Serial Mom earlier today.
yeah.
He plays her teenage son.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's so funny. Was that before or after Scream?
That's a great question. I'm pretty sure it was before. I
I
think
was gonna
Serial Mom
say,
is from 94,
yeah.
and he would have been in his early 20s then, and Scream
Wow.
was 96.
That's wild. Because I always did think like he did not look like a teenager in Scream, but none of them did, so it was like fine.
Yeah,
Um,
it was that
that's so
era.
funny though. I love him so much. Like he just commits to the bit. I love it.
I was surprised to see Tony Shalhoub top billed in the credits, not knowing that he was gonna be, like, the main character. I thought
Right.
Shannon Elizabeth would have been gotten more screen time, but she just gets swept away
Yeah,
in
literally.
the very bizarre scene. But she was really hot at the time too, so I expected to see more of her.
Yeah. I mean, I only know Tony Shalhoub from Monk. I don't know if he was at all a big deal during this time. Like was he popular for like any other movies? Yeah, I have no idea.
He was on this sitcom in the 90s called Wings that
Oh, okay.
was about a small airport on Nantucket,
Right.
and sitcom-y things happened, and he was like a mechanic, or I feel
Uh.
like he played some sort of racial stereotype character. I might have it wrong, but I feel like he had like an accent, and
Yeah.
like he was
Yeah.
of some indeterminable ethnicity.
Right. Right. Yeah, he could play that pretty well. I could see that.
And I mean, yeah, and then Monk came along and I'm like, why is he the lead in something?
Right. Yeah, and that was on for like 100 seasons, and I feel like that's the only reason why people really remember him now.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is Monk. And
he's
what was it?
Monk.
Monk had OCD or something? Was
I
that
think it
the
was
gimmick?
I think it was OCD, yeah.
And he solved crimes?
Yes. You know.
Okay. Never seen an episode.
Yeah. I have I ever watched it? There was a point where I was watching all of those. I think it was like USA. It was like
Mm-hmm.
Monk and Burn Notice, and there was like another popular one.
Oh.
Yeah, and there
Was
was
that
like a
Jeffrey Donovan?
oh, I don't know who would have been the lead. It had what's his face from Evil Dead in it though. Um
Ash?
yeah, I can't remember his name. But
I
there was
can't
like a
remember his
point where
name
I
either.
watched those shows were so great to
Bruce
just like
Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. Those shows were great to just like throw on and like just let your brain rot for a little while.
It is Jeffrey Donovan, and he was in
Mm.
Blair Witch 2, which I think was
Oh.
this same year as 13 Ghosts. It's like someone at the USA Network was watching all the bad 2001
Yes.
horror movies and like casting people from them.
Yeah. Well, they probably were like, "Oh, we don't have to pay these guys as much. Like they're tanking right now."
They're desperate.
Yeah. Honestly. They're smart. They're smart. They nailed it. Oh.
Have you ever heard of Rah Digga before this movie or since?
No, never. And no, I haven't. But she
It,
was a
it
lovely charmer.
I really like she's my favorite part of this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
She is playing the like stereotypical sassy black friend,
Yes.
but she's very good at it.
Yeah.
She just has a lot of charisma,
Yes.
and I was disappointed to see she really has done nothing, but
Oh.
hopefully
Yeah.
she's happy. She's in some hip hop collaborative with Busta Rhymes.
Oh, hell yeah. Good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved her in this at the end when she just like starts yelling the stereotypical things like, I'm done watching kids. I'm like, I love it. She's great.
I was so afraid they were gonna kill her. I was like, you
Yeah.
cannot kill her. Because they pretend kill her twice at least, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And
Also,
I was
yeah,
like, where's Miss Maggie?
her character is definitely just thrown in there to be like the black woman because there's no reason
Mm-hmm.
that this family who was literally on the brink of bankruptcy has a live-in housekeeper. Like, why
How
is
do they
she
afford
there?
her?
Exactly.
Except like she answered one of those shady Craigslist ads where they're like, we
Yeah.
just pay you with room and board.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you get to hang out with Shannon Elizabeth. Like, okay.
Yeah, who needs a nanny for some reason,
Right.
even though
Exactly. Why
she's
isn't
like
Shannon
in her
Elizabeth just
20s?
helping with this child, with the kid who is also probably like, I don't know, I'm really bad at telling kids ages, but like 12 or something. So
I would
like,
say 12.
yeah, so like he's fine on his own. I was basically on my own at 12. Like, it's such a funny dynamic.
Yeah, it was very strange, but I was glad
Yeah.
she was there.
Yeah, me too.
Not many people were glad that she was there or anyone was there.
Oh,
This movie was kind of a flop,
yeah.
both critically and commercially. It made worldwide 68 million against a $42 million budget,
Okay.
and it has a 19% critical tomato and a 49% audience tomato.
Wow. I feel like this movie has kind of gotten a little bit of, I'm not surprised about the critic percent at all. I actually would have thought the audience rating would be a little bit higher just because I feel like maybe I'm biased because like I love this movie, but I feel like this movie has some charm to it that I thought would win more people over.
There were a lot of people on Reddit who
Mm,
like the movie and are
mm,
reviving the love for that movie.
yeah, I could see that.
Roger Ebert also hated it. He gave it 1 star.
Yeah.
And he, like years later, put it on a list of his most hated movies.
Wow.
He does say that it takes place inside a house that is one of the best looking horror sets he's ever seen.
I agree with them on that. I think the house and the practical effects are the savior for this movie.
Yeah, I was trying to, I think, like, if the cinematography was better, there'd be a lot to
Mm-hmm.
like here, because the sets are cool, the production design is cool, but you never get to see it because every
Yes.
take, every cut is like a
Yes.
third of a second.
Seriously, if you have epilepsy, do not watch this movie.
It's
It
so
will kill
bizarre.
you.
I mean, I guess I understand why they're doing it, sort of, and it was very of the time.
I was
And
gonna
there's a
say,
lot
yeah.
of like heavy metal, like Linkin Park type
Yes,
needle drops throughout the movie.
there are. It's actually quite funny. I don't think I've ever really noticed the soundtrack until I watched it this time. I was like, wow, this is so dated. It's so
They
funny.
are raging so hard on the soundtrack.
Yeah, they are raging against the machine.
There are bands that like I had not thought of in a million years. Like is Mudvayne was Mudvayne
Oh
and
my goodness, Mudvayne. Aren't they, don't they have that song that's like, is that Mudvayne, the crazy bitch song? I don't
if it
know.
is, I don't know.
Yeah. I went to one Nickelback concert. Now I think I'm well versed in these bands.
Oh yeah, they're very Nickelback adjacent,
Yep, yep.
like hardcore Creed style.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, how fun.
One of the things that Ebert mentions is mostly that nothing really happens.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that there are 12 ghosts in the house and supposedly 12 containment cages. But when Bobby wanders off to the area with the cages, he gets lost, and his father, sister, the nanny, the psychic, and the Ghostbuster wander endlessly up and down what must be the same corridors, shouting, Bobby, Bobby. So very, very, very many times that I wanted to cheer when Rafkin finally said what we had all been thinking. Screw the kid. We got to get out of this basement.
That is not a bad assessment of what the plot is. Yeah.
He also says that the noise level is torture, and I hope this plays mostly at multiplexes because it's the kind of movie you want to watch from the next theater.
Oh, that's so funny. I would be this movie, if I watched it in a movie theater, would probably put me in a coma.
It would be a lot.
Well, that's actually, maybe that's why I love it so
Some,
much, because the first time I saw it was on a rinky dink little DVD player. You know, that's, you have to microdose this movie. You can't like,
yeah, you didn't get sensory overload on that.
yes, exactly. I watched it in like a dark room at a lake house. It was quiet. There was no, sensory issues on the outside. Yeah.
I think I had seen maybe one scene of this
Mm,
on HBO or something. This came out at a time where I was not watching R-rated horror movies,
mm.
and I think this one would have frightened me. But I feel like seeing a scene because I remember watching it and I was like, "Have I seen this?" Like they're all going to be in glass at some point.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the whole house was made of glass. I thought
Yeah.
I had seen one scene where they were in like a glass elevator or something for some reason, but
Right.
it was kind of making the rounds back in the day on
Yeah.
cable.
Yeah. I think it was on like HBO for a really, really long time. And I feel like they probably played it on the actual station a lot too.
This was one of the early revivals from Dark Castle Entertainment where they were
Hmm.
remaking classic movies. So they also did The House on Haunted Hill, which is different
Okay.
from The
Not the one we
Haunting.
watched. Yeah. Right.
Right. And this one, and then they did Ghost Ship.
Go ship.
And they're the ones, so they're actually going to be producing the new Simon West movie. Simon West did the Stranger Calls remake that we just talked about.
Oh, interesting. Is he remaking another movie? Do you know?
I think this is new. It's called Old
Oh,
Guy, and I think it's a new property.
right. Yeah, we did kind of touch on that. Interesting.
They did a lot of these remakes, and I don't think many of them were very successful.
Mm,
They're named after Stephen Castle, who was this guy, movie maker from the 60s who was known for being gimmicky.
right.
So 13 Ghosts, you actually had to put on like glasses to see the ghosts.
Oh, okay. You know what? It's funny. I think I've heard of that, but I don't think I knew what movie it was for.
hmm
Yeah. Oh, that's very funny.
He
Interesting.
he also did the Tingler where people were buzzed during the movie.
Yes. Right. Have we talked about this?
I don't think so.
Okay, then maybe I did just like maybe it was on some random video that popped up for me. I love that. I love that it was a 4D experience.
I say bring this back.
Seriously. I love going to like amusement parks and they'll have those like movies. Like I think like there's a Shrek one at Universal where it like spits at you. Like hell yeah.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that's great. Keep me engaged. Like this is the TikTok generation. You need to keep us engaged. Like physically
Right.
assault
There's
us while we're watching a
Mist,
movie. Yeah,
the seat shake.
right. Oh, honestly, we need that.
He had one called Homicidal,
Hmm.
which the gimmick was the 45-second fright break. So they paused the movie at the climax and advised the audience that if they were too frightened to see the rest of it, they could leave and get a refund.
Wow.
And if they left, there was something in the lobby called the Coward's Corner where they would have to sit. Um, and there was a nurse there with a blood pressure cuff.
Stop it. That's so rude. See, I was hoping that if they left, like someone would charge them with like an axe and like,
Ah,
oh, just like, send them into full panic. That'd be so great.
that would be really fun.
Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, bring this back. I mean, we need ways to get people back to theaters. I think
Yes,
that's one way to do it.
absolutely.
Oh, you had mentioned earlier how some people think that the movie should have been about the ghosts.
Mm,
I read online that allegedly there's a 13 Ghosts series in development, TV series.
really
And it would have
interesting.
like an episode per ghost.
Wow. I think as long as you kept it like a mini series, I could be down for that. I wouldn't
And don't
need,
just keep adding ghosts.
yeah, exactly. I don't need like a whole, 5 season run of something, and because when I was saying that, like, I like the idea that they didn't focus on the ghost, it's just because to me, like the movie is so ridiculous for just having like this movie is such an enigma to me. Like it has this I think the plot is even pretty good. Like I like the concept of the ghost. They worked really hard on them. You know, they have these great performances and then it's just they just drop the ball. And it honestly has so much to do with the time that this movie was made. So it would be really interesting to see like a modern interpretation of it.
I would be curious too. There is a lot, like as you said, a lot of lore to explore with
Yeah.
this movie that does nothing with it.
Right, right. I hope though if they make like a TV show, they still keep it really like campy. Like please stop making 3-second cuts, but like don't try to make it into like a Penny Dreadful, you know,
Ugh,
dark, depressing, gothic. Like
it doesn't
make
need to be
still make it,
serious.
yeah, still make it like kind of insane and like campy.
The article I read had no sources whatsoever, but they did
Fantastic.
say that the rumor was also
Hmm.
that they were exploring some sort of not alternate reality, or is it alternate augmented reality
Ah.
experience where you might have to like look at the screen through your phone to see the ghost or something like that.
Ooh. Again, like, you know, it's kind of stupid, it's kind of cheesy, but like, you know what? I would have like stuck my nose up at that, you know, 5 years ago when we were all just really becoming obsessed with our phones. But now I'm like at a point where I'm like, you know what? We have these stupid things anyways. Let's at least have fun with them, you know? Like
Have fun with it. Yes.
seriously. Like, you know, I would have stuck my nose up at a movie that spits at you, that like shocks you. But you know what? I'm sick and tired of 600 Marvel movies coming out. I'm sick and tired of these boring ass movies. Like, set me on fire. Like, just make it somewhat more fun, please.
Yes. Yeah. Just set a fire in the theater, make you
Honestly.
evacuate as part of
Honestly.
the experience.
Yes. Right. That's when I go see Twisters, if there isn't an actual twister ripping through the theater, I want my money back.
The roof of that theater better be torn off like opening a tuna can while you're there.
Honestly. Or at least
Mhm.
invest in a couple of high powered fans and put them at the front of the theater or something. Like you're telling me I have to watch Glenn Powell for 2 hours and you're not even gonna give me a good experience? Come on.
I hope they come through for you.
I do too. I do too. Anyways.
Well, I want to see how well you've actually studied these ghosts.
Oh
So
God.
I have a quiz for you.
Okay.
And in this quiz, so the title of this movie and the fact that Matthew Lillard is in it reminded me of the short-lived TV series, The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
Oh,
Are you familiar with that one?
I am not. That sounds so fun.
It was on for one season
Okay.
and it had Scooby-Doo,
Hmm.
Shaggy, Daphne, I think Scrappy,
Ugh.
and a like short round from Indiana Jones type Asian boy named Flim Flam.
Okay.
And Scooby Doo accidentally opens this Pandora's box that's filled with evil ghosts.
Mm,
And the ghosts escape. And each episode, they have to get one of the ghosts back in the box.
okay.
It has a little bit more of an overarching plot than most
Mm,
Scooby Doo cartoons would have.
right.
And they never actually captured the 13th ghost. But I guess and this was in like the 70s, I
Yeah.
guess because Scooby-Doo's had that resurgence in the 2000s, and they had movies like Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island
Yep.
and Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. There's Scooby-Doo and the 13th Ghost, which was one of those made for home
Oh,
video movies where they capture the 13th ghost. But
fun.
so for this game, I'm going to read the name of a ghost, and you have to
Okay.
tell me, is it one of the 13 ghosts or one of the 13 ghosts of Scooby-Doo?
Oh, fun. Okay.
Okay. Since
Yeah.
you've studied so much, I didn't realize how much you had studied them. This may be easy for you.
Ooh, I don't know. I'm not great with names, so
Okay. And okay, I'm not gonna say anymore. I almost
Okay.
spoiled it. All right, the first one is Demondo.
Oh, that's Scooby, right?
That is the
Okay.
13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. He is a
Okay.
demon who can imprison people within books and newspapers. And he imprisoned Scooby, Scrappy, Shaggy, Daphne, and Flim Flam in the comics section of a newspaper.
Oh, that's so fun. I want him to capture me.
Depends on what he puts you in.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, up next is Angry Princess.
That one is 13 Ghosts. Is that the plastic surgery one?
Yes, that's the sexy
Yeah.
ghost.
Okay,
She had
all
plastic
right.
surgery to alter her perceived flaws. And after a botched experiment that mutilated her eye, she brutally killed herself in a bathtub.
Yes, yes. That's a good one. I love the sexy ghost. You probably see
She's the
her
most
the
iconic
most.
ghost.
Yeah, because
Oh,
she's
they
the
love
most
showing the
nude.
sexy
Yeah.
naked ghost. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Next is Pilgrimess.
I'm gonna have to go Scooby-Doo.
This is one of the 13 ghosts.
Stop it.
And yeah, I don't even know which one she is. So she has a name. Her name was Isabella Smith, and she came to North America as a colonist in order to find new life after being an orphan in New England. But she was accused of being a witch, and she died of starvation after being condemned to the pillory that she carries with her as a ghost.
That's
Is she the one whose
right.
head looks like it's in a box?
Well, there's the one that has the head in the box. I think that one you might be thinking of. It's like in a cage box, right?
Yeah.
That's actually a man, and that's the
Oh,
oh
I'm
my
sorry, I
God.
misgendered this ghost.
It's so funny because that one they act like he's like the big bad or something. They call him the oh, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like I can recognize the names if you say them, but I can't think of them. But he was like a serial killer. So he went to a mental
Okay.
hospital and they put his head in a box. I don't know. The
He's the one that
jackal.
attacks Shannon Elizabeth.
Yeah. Yes. Which
Oh,
makes
okay.
sense
So
because
that
I
was part
think
of the quiz. So you already got
yeah.
that one.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Oh, okay. So if I read the description here, yeah, doctors locked his head in a cage.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say why.
Yeah, I think he was like obsessed with women. I don't know if he like wanted to eat them or something. I just don't understand why they put just his head in a cage. Seems like there would be more
It-
violent parts to him. The limbs could do a lot of damage.
Right. Yeah, it says he had a sick appetite for women and an insatiable appetite. So maybe he did eat them.
Oh, okay, okay. Yep, I guess that could make sense. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why he attacked poor Shannon Elizabeth.
That scene is so like 90s era gross too, because they almost tear her top off in close
Yes.
up.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be like implied that she's like a teenage daughter and you
Yes.
see like straight boob.
Yeah. Yeah, and her monk dad is there the
Yeah.
whole time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very, very bizarre.
It's very gross. I hate that scene.
Yeah, that scene's gross. Not in a good way.
Yep.
All right, so the next ghost is Hammer.
That one is, I think, is that from 13 Ghosts? Is he have the hammer like taped to
It
his
is
hand? Aha.
it is from 13 Ghosts. I don't remember. Oh yeah, he does. I didn't remember that. But he's the one that has the railroad spikes in his body.
Right, right. And I think his whole lore is he like killed someone and then so the town killed him and he was like a blacksmith. There's some of these ghosts where it's like their lore is not as strong.
Yeah, he even though he's one of the ones they show a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think his visual is really cool. I do like that. And I wonder if they were going for kind of like a pinhead kind of thing. Yeah.
He has
Yeah.
that things are sticking out of your body, human porcupine look.
Right.
All right, how about Queen Morbidia?
I don't recognize it. So Scooby-Doo?
She is from Scooby-Doo.
Oh,
She is the commander of an army of demons, and she resembles Lily Munster from the Munsters.
that's
And Scooby and the gang somehow sang to her for a very long time until the sun came up and turned her into a pile of ash.
I love it. They should have tried that in this movie.
Right? Yeah, what happens?
Yeah.
Can they, because like, yeah, the house is made of glass. What if the sun,
Right.
can they exist in the sun?
I don't know. I feel like it would be really weird if they did.
Yeah. That's the plot. Isn't that the plot of House on Haunted Hill? Don't they just have to stay there till sunrise?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Spooky stuff only comes out at night.
Only comes out at night.
Yeah.
How about Juggernaut?
See, like, if I were to say 13 Ghosts, I would have thought it was the guy with all the spikes in his head. So now I don't know. I'm going to say 13 Ghosts and then, oh, he's the really tall one. Right?
I'm assuming so. He has
Yeah.
very little physical description in the paragraph
Yes.
that I copied from the internet.
Yeah. I can't remember what his deal is. I just know that he's like a very tall, skinny guy. And that always creeped me out.
It says he has a body riddled with bullet holes,
Mm.
and he used to work in a junkyard using his unusual strength to crush cars. And then he went insane, and he would tear motorists and hitchhikers apart with his bare hands and feed them to his dogs.
Oh, so he's the one from the beginning when they're in the junkyard.
Okay.
I'm assuming.
Also, like the When a Stranger Calls killer, just tearing them apart with his bare hands.
That's right. Maybe it's one and the same.
That's the lore.
Yeah.
And then last but not least is Maldor.
It's got to be Scooby.
That is Scooby-Doo. He was the first of the 13 Ghosts to be released, and he wanted a magic wand that would grant him extreme power. So he put Daphne into an enchanted sleep and turned Scooby-Doo into a fly, and then transformed himself into a frog to eat Scooby-Doo, who was a fly. But they were able to catch him because he was a frog.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the downside of becoming a frog is, well, they're usually pretty slippery.
Yeah, not a good choice, though, if you're, like, against humans, I feel like.
That's true. That is true.
Well, good job with that quiz. I think you only missed one of them.
Thank you. I feel so bright.
Yeah, you know your 26 ghosts.
Whew. That'll get me far in life.
Yes. Yes. Can you name more presidents or more ghosts?
Oof, definitely more ghosts. There's no way.
Yeah.
They all
I
blur
only
together.
really know the presidents who were, like on Money.
Yeah. Right, right.
And even then, have we talked about this on the podcast? Right? It's like, who's on the nickel? Like,
I don't know. It's stupid.
Yeah, I have no
I mean,
idea.
there's
I have
way more
no clue.
diversity in the ghosts than there are in presidents.
And that's very true, actually.
Yeah, it makes it easier to remember. There's way more diversity.
They're a better representation of America.
Yeah, seriously. They have different ethnic backgrounds, different genders, and different modes of actually, is there a lot of ethnic backgrounds? Are they all white?
I think the railroad spike guy is black.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go.
And there's a woman who's a little person.
That's right. Of course. There's
raising her fat adult son who's in a diaper.
Yes, there's a very Italian guy. I don't remember exactly what his name is, but the torso, the one that's wrapped in saran wrap, his whole backstory is that he was a gambler and his name was very like stereotypical Italian. It was like Gammy the Gambler. Gambino, I think was his last name. So
and he was in the mafia.
Yeah, it had something to do, I think, actually with the mafia. Like he got killed for it and they wrapped him in saran wrap and threw him in the ocean.
Wow.
Yeah. I always loved
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I like that one. They don't show him a lot, but it reminds me of that Lady Gaga outfit she wore, where she was like wrapped in the clear saran wrap. It was like one of her music videos. Yeah,
Yes.
I think she was
Maybe
inspired.
I could see her doing a lot of the outfits from 13 Ghosts,
Yeah,
actually.
seriously.
Like having a cube on her head. Did she ever do that? Like, I could
Yeah,
see that.
yeah, absolutely. Cast her in the 13 Ghosts TV show
As all the ghosts. She could be
as
each
all of
ghost.
them.
Lady Gaga
Yes.
as every ghost.
Yeah, each era.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's hit that gothic beat
Okay.
and talk about our gothic elements. All gothic films have 4 categories: a girl, a guy, a house, and a haunt. And Monk is our gothic girly in this one, I
He's a
think.
little gothic girly. Yeah. Not I don't even the thing about this movie is I've seen it so many times and I barely remember / understand the conclusion. I don't know.
It's all about family.
Yeah, it just seems like they just like, is it his wife stops? I honestly don't know what happens. So it's like I feel bad giving him any credit because I'm like, did he do something? I don't know.
Yeah, the best I can describe the plot is that his wife is dead
Mm-hmm.
and she's one of the ghosts.
Yep.
She's the like one good ghost.
Yes.
And he doesn't know she's a ghost or in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And his uncle, who I would say is the guy,
Yeah.
if I had to pick one, Uncle, gosh, what was their last name?
Oof.
Critic.
Yeah. Oh, very Greek.
They are very Greek.
Yeah.
He was ostensibly a ghost hunter, but has been gathering these very highly specific souls that were in a book of prophecies that will allow him to have some sort of vague power.
Yeah.
But there has to be a 13th ghost made by human sacrifice.
Right.
And there's this big machine that's a bunch of gears spinning.
It's very like Da Vinci looking. Yeah.
It's very clearly just like one big CG like blob, but it kind of like, I guess if you're gonna do CG, do it that way. Like all the ghosts have good makeup effects and good
Yeah.
costume design. So, I didn't really object to the big spinning gear thing being
Right.
CG.
Yeah. I mean, and by that point too, like I was barely paying attention to what was actually happening. So, like it's fine, like if you're gonna put it in at that point. And I mean more in just that I was there more for the vibes than anything that was happening on screen. So, you know, that's fine. They can get away with it.
Yeah, we think the uncle's dead, but
Hmm.
he turns out to still be alive. And then there's some double crossing with this woman who you think is a rival ghost hunter, but turns out to actually be working for him.
Yeah.
And then the plot is to either sacrifice the children or to get the dad, I think, to sacrifice himself
Yeah.
to save the children.
Yeah. It's a little I guess confusing isn't the right word. It's bizarre and it's very sappy, especially
Oh,
because of the whole rest of the movie is not sappy too much. I mean, you have a little bit of a sad subplot, but like it's just kind of cheesy.
it reminded me of The Haunting when
Mm,
we talked about why so many movies decide to go with this theme of
yeah.
family. And
Right.
this one, I'm gonna skip ahead to The Haunt a little bit
Hmm.
because I do want to point out the sexy ghost. She is completely butt ass naked the
Yep.
whole movie, and there's a Letterboxd reviewer whose screen name is Single White Femalian, which is a great screen
Yeah.
name. And her review, this is her review in its entirety. There's a sexy titty ghost in 13 Ghosts. That's how you know it's good.
Nailed it. Yeah.
And the phrase sexy titty ghost has now entered my lexicon.
Yeah. Sexy titty ghost.
And she also she writes out the movie as Thir13en Ghosts because it's
Yes.
stylized with the 13 being in the place of the T and one E.
Yeah. 13 Ghosts. Yeah.
But yeah, this is a movie where like a butt ass naked sexy titty ghost
Yes.
will be in one scene, and in the next scene someone says earnestly, love is the most powerful energy.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly, the tone of this movie is just wildly spread out. And again, the fact that it's like this sweet, it's supposed to be this like sweet family and they're all close, and then you have a scene where the teenage daughter is being like hypersexualized and it's so icky.
Yes. Yeah, they love putting Shannon Elizabeth, like, is Shannon Elizabeth going to take her top off? I feel like is the most common question, because she did an American Pie, and like every man like blew a load and was not able to get over that for years.
Right. And just could not deal with the fact that she was not partially, that she wouldn't be, partially unclothed in every role for the next 100 years. Yeah.
I found it amusing that her character in this movie really likes bathrooms, and in Jack Frost, she also has the iconic bathroom death scene.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't. But
spoiler alert.
Again, no. But again, I think I might have seen it a long time ago. And honestly, if Shannon Elizabeth is in a horror movie, I know she's at least getting like, roughed up.
Yeah, she has an iconic bathtub death scene in the Jack Frost Snowman Serial Killer movie, not the Michael Keaton movie. I don't know how Michael Keaton kills her in that one, but but yeah, so this movie, and like early on, it doesn't feel that way. Like I thought there was some fun humor, like the younger kid is weirdly obsessed with death.
Yes.
And kind of, I don't want to say callous about it, but like as a kid would, he was too young to really remember his mom. And now he's just kind of morbid.
Yeah. He has, I actually love the little kid in this. Like he's genuinely very funny and very charming. And I was sad that he wasn't in it more. But again, that's where like I think the tone gets weird. It's like, okay, so you remove the kids from the equation so that you can focus on the adult characters. And it's really dark and R-rated, but then again, you end on that hopeful family note. It's very bizarre.
The kid would definitely be a podcaster if and when this is remade.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. And like honestly too, I remember when I used to watch this movie, I'd be like, oh my God, why did the kid wander away in the beginning? If I was in that house, I'd be wandering like crazy. I get it. I really do.
That's a nice segue to talking about the house. The house in this movie is such an impressive set.
It's so cool.
The whole thing is made of glass.
Mm-hmm. It's like, it looks like this like imposing Victorian mansion, but it's like you said, it's all glass on the inside. It's very, obviously modern isn't the right word because this movie came out in 2001. I guess modern for the time, like lots of, nuts and bolts and, a big theme of time and clocks. It's really cool.
There's a lot of gears turning in the
Yes.
walls that you can
Gears.
see.
Yeah.
And all of the glass has all this writing on it that we'll learn is some sort of magical incantation at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess they had like decals. They put decals on it
Oh.
to make it look like the glass was etched instead of like etching.
Yeah.
You know, hundreds of panes of glass.
Yeah. I will allow it. I would like those decals for my car.
Oh, that'd be so fun to put that like
Right?
on the rear windshield or something, or even on all of
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just put it everywhere, even on the front windshield. I'm sure it'll be fine.
You can, yeah, where you can see out, but like they can't
Yes.
see in.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Better
Oh,
than like an American Eagle with a flag, on the back of somebody's truck.
honestly. And like even the dark tint that some of these people have, like how are you driving at night?
I was on a small vacation recently
Mm-hmm.
and had a Airbnb
Yep.
and a rental car.
Mm-hmm.
And the Airbnb was on a very quiet street. Most
Mm-hmm.
of the time I was the only car parked on the street. And one morning I got up and I thought, oh, I need to go get something. I don't remember what, it doesn't matter, out of the car. So I would just walk out of the Airbnb. I go to the gray car that is in front of the house. I
Mm-hmm.
open up the door and someone is in the car because I've opened up the wrong car. My rental car was was like 50 feet away. I'm glad I didn't get shot.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought
Yeah.
this was my car," and I just closed the door. And but I completely blame this person because their window tint was so dark, I
Yeah.
couldn't see inside there. If I had seen the person,
Seriously.
I wouldn't have opened the fucking door.
Yeah, that feels like it's on them.
It was totally on them. Like, because
Honestly.
I was like, "Okay," I just opened the
Yeah.
door. Like, yeah.
Right.
So, I don't know what he was doing in there. And then
I
I got my
know.
stuff out of the car, and then I was gonna leave, but, like, I didn't wanna leave because I didn't want him ever to see me again.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. It would have been so much better if he had had the 13 Ghosts window decal. At least you could have
Yes.
seen him.
Yes, and maybe it would have kept me out, as a
Yes, that's right.
spell.
Yeah, a little well, or maybe it was trying to keep him in. Yeah.
That's his containment cube, is his car.
And you just let him out.
And I let him out. That's how, like, it's 13 Ghosts meets 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. Like, my dumb ass
Yes.
let them out.
Because of their dark tinted windows with decals on it. They have to have the
Yes,
combo.
now I've gotta get them back in. There's that really funny scene where, not intentionally so, but where
Mhm.
Matthew Lillard and Tony Shaloub are going down the hall behind a one pane of glass,
Yeah.
and he, like, puts Monk in the corner and just kinda puts the glass in front of him
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
protect him when the ghosts are coming.
Yeah, it kind of like squirrels them away.
Mhm.
It's adorable.
Okay, so that's our girl, Tony
Mhm.
Shaloub, Monk. Our guy, Uncle Criticos, with his vaguely, I don't know what black magic. We have Sexy Titty Ghost
Mhm.
and 11 others, and the house, this iconic house. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? Is this movie gothic?
It's so I wish I had been the thing with this movie is when I watch it, I usually just kind of black out. So I wasn't really trying to think while I was watching it, like, is it gothic? I kind of want to give it yes. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree. I think
Yeah.
we're hearkening back to this old school gothic.
Right. I actually wish
It's
I
old
had
school and modern for the
yes.
time.
I wish I had watched the 60s version, and I think I'm gonna have to now because I bet if you watch that and it's, more old-timey and, like creepy cobwebs, I don't know if that's what it's like, but I think it would bring really gothic in that sort of setting. So I think the biggest thing working against this is the editing and the fact that Monk really kind of takes you out of it, or at least it takes me out of it.
He doesn't do anything. And then
Yeah.
I was wondering if the editing maybe is because with the house being made out of glass, I imagine there's got to be so many shots where there's like a crew person
That is true.
wall, or like maybe all of this is just because they're having to literally like cut people out of it.
Yeah, that's honestly
Seems like
true.
hell to film on this set.
Yeah, and because there's a lot of like super tight shots, like of faces and like really up close. That
And
makes a lot
boobs.
of sense. And boobs. Well, yeah, I mean, that's just good filmmaking. Is you got to get them in. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, no distractions.
Got to get both of them in at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
And they're so big since her whole story is that she got a breast implants. That's her whole backstory.
Of course. Really, it's characterizing her. It's, it's this is what Alison Bechdel would have wanted.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would this movie pass the Bechdel test? It might, because you have Shannon Elizabeth and the housekeeper, Miss Maggie. They must talk about something that isn't a man.
Probably bathrooms. But honestly, I would have to rewatch it because like I wouldn't be surprised if all they talked about were like the dad and the brother.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, but I could see them maybe talking about bathrooms.
Yeah, because once the other character, we didn't really talk about her. There's this other character.
Oh yeah.
Who, I forgot her name, but at the beginning, this is one of my not quite memorable scenes. We're gonna transition into memorable scenes. I have one, but this is more of like a what's happening scene that I have to question. So, like in the beginning, they're in a junkyard. Mr. Criticos is there to catch Junkyard Ghost, and Matthew Lillard is there to help him. But then there are these two other people. Are they like ghost rights activists or something? Like they're trying to stop them from catching this ghost.
Yeah,
because like I don't know, the ghost deserves to haunt this junkyard.
Yeah, there's this weird like C plot, like it's not even a B plot, where it's like this movie is trying to make a weird point about like ghost rights and like ghosts' bodily autonomy. Like
for the bodies they don't have.
Exactly. Do you have bodily autonomy if you don't have a body? This movie is really deep.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
This movie is so deep. That's why people don't like it, is because it goes over their head. Yeah.
Now I want the A24 version of 13
exactly.
Ghosts, like that is what it's about.
This movie is basically the tenet of ghost movies. It's just, it's it's really deep, but
the time is going both forwards and backwards simultaneously.
Wonder what would happen if you watch this movie backwards. The lovely movie about a family losing their mother.
But then she comes back.
But if you're watching it backwards, that's
she
true.
Comes back.
That's true that she would come back. Yeah.
Maybe they're the ghosts after all.
Maybe other situation.
So, like the others, yeah. Did you have any memorable scenes that we haven't already discussed?
So I was just going to bring up, because I feel like we haven't gotten to really talk about him that much. So I was going to bring up how upon this watching, I don't know if I just like blocked it out of my memory or if I just really noticed it this time, but Matthew Lillard's death scene is so brutal. Oh my God. It's awful.
Tell me more.
The big guy, I don't even remember which one it is because there's a couple of big guys. So I don't remember if it's the pinhead one or the really tall, strong one. But right. He like basically, first of all, they just start beating him up, like just punching him. And then he picks him up and breaks his back over the corner of a
Oh, that's right.
room. It's brutal. I was like nauseated. Oh,
Yeah.
because he comes back as a ghost, doesn't he? Isn't that something that happens at the end?
He does this kind of like
Like
he's a good
sensei
ghost.
thing? Yeah.
He's gonna wave goodbye to them. Yeah, he's like the Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Yes.
like waving to them at the end.
He really is. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, so I forgot how brutal that scene is. It's like gross. And Matthew Lillard is such a lanky dude. He just really folds quite well.
He's very bendy, yeah.
He's very bendy. But on a lighter note, I wanted to bring up, I don't know if I had noticed this before, but my favorite joke in the movie is there's a lawyer who goes to the house, and basically he goes into the basement and like starts, fudding around, and he gets like split in half by like a wire or something. It's weird because then the basement's also booby trapped on top of ghosts. It's kind of weird. But he gets split in half, and then later the live-in nanny says something about like, what happened to the lawyer? He must have split. Where's the Academy Award? So
yes!
good. So good.
That was actually my
it.
most memorable scene.
Yes. Pretty much anything with her in it is going to be memorable. She's great.
Mm-hmm. Both her joke and when he gets cut in half was pretty good. Even though it is CG, it was well done.
It was well done. Again, really gross.
It was gross. It reminded me, there were a lot of, we're actually going to talk about this more, I think, on our next episode, but there were lots of people being bisected and dissected with CG around this time period. So just hang on to that for next time if you're listening.
Yeah. It was a very popular trope.
My theory, I'll talk about next time.
Okay.
So
I love it.
Yes. So let's talk about what else we've been watching and if we have any recommendations for our listeners. What have you been watching, Amanda?
Well, so I haven't really been watching any movies this week, but what I was going to bring up, especially because it includes one of our favorite gothic girlies, is that I'm not caught up. So I think I'm missing one episode, but I've been watching Under the Bridge. It's on Hulu. I think it is a true crime story. There's like the little disclaimer at the beginning that says it's not sensationalized and it's based on true facts. I don't know if I believe that. I think you have to watch it with a little bit of a grain of salt. But it has our girl Riley Keough, and she's great in it.
Oh,
yeah, yep. So she's
that's great.
It stars her and Lily Gladstone, and they're wonderful.
Okay.
And it's a super engaging show. I mean, I like that it's going to be a mini series. I mean, again, it is based on a true story, so obviously they're not going to continue with it. So I like that it's a mini series. I think it's almost over. It might even be completely done now, or at least by the time that this episode comes out. I'm not sure, but it's good. It's definitely dark. It's sad. It's very tragic. But I think every time I watch Riley Keough in something, I'm like, I just want to like pick up on her mannerisms. Like, she's so cool in this show. Like, she always has like a joint. I'm like, ooh, I would never look that cool just like smoking a J, just like casually talking to someone. She's just so cool. I love her so much.
That's got to be in her Elvis DNA.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Honestly, those damn Elvises are so friggin' suave.
Yeah. And the movie didn't really talk about when he was just high on drugs all the time.
Yeah. Just stoned always. I love it.
There's an iconic picture of Elvis where he is just high as fuck out of his mind, and he's meeting President Richard Nixon, and Nixon is giving him like a certificate about being an anti-drug czar or something, and Elvis is just
so
like
good.
Blazed. Like it's a wild historical photo.
I love that so much. Ugh. Yeah, she is living, she is carrying the legacy, and she's doing it well.
I really like her.
Yeah. So what have you been up to?
Well, as usual, my finger is on the pulse of current events, and the movie I watched is from 1977, and it is called A Killing Affair. It is a CBS made-for-TV movie
Oh.
ab about a street cop in Los Angeles who is reassigned to the detective division,
Mm.
where he is paired with a female detective.
Ugh.
The street cop is black and the female detective is white, and they begin to have a love affair that is pretty steamy for a CBS made for TV movie from the 70s.
Yeah.
And the white detective is played by the ever glamorous Elizabeth Montgomery,
Mm.
who was Samantha Stevens on Bewitched. And
Oh.
the black detective is played by O.J. Simpson.
No. Oh
So
no.
I watched this because OJ passed away
Yep.
recently, and it's kind of oddly sent me into this tailspin because one of my most vivid childhood memories is of my mom and my grandmother just watching CNN 24/7 during
Oh.
the OJ trial.
Yeah.
So OJ is like this critical part of my childhood.
Yeah.
So shortly after OJ died, Netflix acquired the documentary OJ Made in America,
Mhm. Yeah.
which have you ever watched that?
No, it's actually funny. When OJ died, I'm in charge of the nonfiction DVDs at my library, and I was weeding, which, for anyone who doesn't work in a library, it's when you go through and you get rid of the items that haven't gone out in a while. And that actually came up on my list, but I ran the list right before he died. And then I was like, well, I can't get rid of it now. So I actually re-added it to the collection. So no, I have not watched it because
Oh,
I have it on the shelf right now, hoping that someone else will check it out, but I want to check it out.
I hope someone checks it out. The documentary is so good. It
Mm.
is about 9.5 hours long.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
yeah, each Netflix has it I think it was originally divided into episodes. It was made for
Mhm.
ESPN, and each episode is like an hour and a half long movie. And
Wow.
there's like 5 or 6 episodes. So in the middle of the second episode, they show this clip of OJ and Elizabeth Montgomery in a movie. And I just had to pause it.
Yeah.
I was Googling, the Internet Archive has it uploaded,
Stop
and I was able to watch it. I honestly, and I'm not saying this is an ironic recommendation. I really liked the movie.
it. Well, the whole thing is he was charismatic. Like,
I'm still, yeah, the documentary does a really good job of contextualizing OJ
mhm.
pre-murder and how he was universally beloved.
Yeah.
And I found this article from Jet magazine from 1977 that was about this movie. And they said, because at the time, black and the interracial romance
Right.
was still a huge deal. Like they actually kiss. There's a love
Yeah.
scene. Like this was a huge deal. But they said that that's why they cast OJ Simpson because, quote, he's a big, virile, handsome cat who seems gentle and non-threatening.
Wild.
So you have the dramatic irony of just everything that happens, but
Yeah.
the movie was good. It was really
Yeah.
interesting. Like he plays this cop who was a street cop and just wants to catch the bad guy,
Yeah.
and he's put in the situation where they actually have to, like, they know who the killer is, but
Mm.
they have to find the proof. It's one of those
Mm.
things, and
Yeah.
finding the proof is proving difficult. And then he's married to a black woman and has a child, but he starts having an affair with Elizabeth Montgomery's character. And when the wife finds out, like the tension in their marriage and the way their marriage kind of dissolves was really thoughtful and mature.
Mm.
Again, I don't think it would be portrayed that way today. And I
Yeah.
don't know. I really liked it. I'm in this weird position where I was like falling in love with OJ. I'm like, oh, OJ, you know, like,
Yeah.
because he's very good in it. It was just,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's my bizarro recommendation for
I
this week is
love
a
that.
two-hander, A Killing Affair, and the OJ documentary Made in America.
I might have to watch it like exactly like you did. Like I'll start watching the documentary, and then in the middle of the second episode, I'll pause it and switch over. That's so
You'll
wild.
see it. Samantha Stevens will pop up
Yep.
and just pause it and watch that. I still haven't gone back to the documentary. Eventually
Yeah.
I will. But because I was like, I'll put this movie on for 5 minutes and I'll turn it off.
Right.
But then I watched the whole thing. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's a great recommendation. And you know, you joked about it, but
thank
it is timely, you know, technically.
That's true. It is. It is. It is. It's
Yeah.
and then I got to thinking, like, so Elizabeth Montgomery also played Lizzie Borden in a made-for-TV movie.
Ooh.
And it got me wondering how our society is going to see OJ in 100 years. Like, because both OJ and Lizzie Borden were accused of crimes that
Yep.
everyone pretty much thought they did, but
Yeah.
neither were convicted.
Yeah. Wow. That is
OJ's our
so
West Coast Lizzie Borden.
Yes. You should like write a research paper on this. That is super interesting.
That'll be my next essay. Those are my themes in life. Lizzie Borden
Yeah.
and OJ, the two.
We should
Those are my like dual moons that revolve around me.
Yeah, we'll do dual moons. You're an OJ Rising and a Lizzie Borden.
Yes. Yes. I'm on the cusp of Lizzie with OJ ascending.
Oh, that's so terrible. I love it. No, we'll do an episode where we watch each of those TV movies and then we'll get really analytical with it.
The Lizzie Borden one could be gothic.
Ooh, I would love that. I mean, you know, I don't think she would do it, but we have a mutual friend who is obsessed with Lizzie Borden. Get her to talk about it.
That would be fun.
Yep. Ugh. Wow. Well, great recommendation. I really look forward to watching that.
Yes, yours as well. You said yours was on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. I think it's a Hulu like show, and it is, you know, one of those TV shows that comes out every week, which, you know, I don't always love, but I kind of appreciate it with this one because it's a very heavy show. I think it would be hard to binge watch.
And it's Under the Bridge. And it's
Under the Bridge.
Are you sure it's based on a true story and not a Red Hot Chili Peppers song?
Is
Is that their theme song?
I don't think they've used that yet. No, unfortunately. Yeah, they couldn't get that one.
Anthony Kiedis, he's too rich for Hulu money, I guess.
Honestly, I get it.
If it was HBO Max, they'd have had it.
Oh yeah, you would get
licensing.
like a really nice instrumental. Maybe they do use it and I just haven't noticed because I didn't even put together that. That would be really funny if that was the theme song and I just haven't noticed.
That would be so funny.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, thank you, Amanda. And thank you, Ghosties, for listening to us break down Thir13en Ghosts. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And please share us with a friend who also likes movies. Until next time, stay ghosty. Boo-bye.
Bye.